More minutes. We'll let a few folks join in, and we'll kick it off soon. Like the emojis. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Nice.
I just found out you could change the color of the heart. No, I'm never gonna stop.
I didn't even know you can do that, man.
I just learned it from you. I had no idea. Let me try.
Yeah, you just hold on. You hold on to the button and it changes color. That's crazy.
Major alpha. Let me see.
Oh, it works.
There you go.
Nice.
You learn something
All right.
new every day.
See a lot more folks joining in. Well, we'll probably kick it off in 2 minutes. We usually wait for 5 minutes for people to join in. How's everything on your side, OG? All good?
Yep, all good here, man. What about you? How's the jet lag?
All good. Just settling in. Taking hourly naps every 4 hours, trying to beat the jet lag, but really liking the new time zone. Being in Asia, since working with a lot of our partners, teams, and other builders within the space in Europe and Asia. So this time zone is a lot more fitting compared to the West Coast timing. So it's a good change.
I love the hustle. It's like, yeah, we're working with a lot of people in Asia and Europe. I'm just gonna fly there.
Yeah, it's easy, especially at this time of the quarter where we are really pushing really, really hard to roll out the seed farms, the wheat farms, the PvP, PvE. It just made sense for me to come here. Loads of meeting happening. I already in like a few days, I'm seeing like the flow is a lot better for my productivity overall and for the team, the rest of the team in West Coast and London and everything. So it's cool. I want to see how it works out for the month. If it's looking good, might make a bigger move here.
Nice. Let's see, man. It'd be good to have you on this side of the world.
Yeah, living in the future is cool.
Right? That's what I was telling the guys earlier. Like, you're still stuck in yesterday.
All right. Well, how about we just kick it off now? I guess people will join and will continue to join. All right. Let's start with a little bit of an introduction from your side, please. Tell us about yourself. Tell us a little bit more about Pokesaurus Gaming Guild, and anything else you like.
Sure. Thanks. So my name's OG. I mean, it's Omar Ghanem, but I go by the initials. I'm the head of gaming at PokeStarter, and we essentially started PokeStarter Gaming without the guild for now, about 6 months ago, primarily because as a launchpad. So again, maybe let me take a step back. If you guys are not familiar with PokeStarter, it's a launchpad where projects can essentially raise funds from the community. And as a launchpad, we were seeing a lot more GameFi and play to earn projects applying. We launched some of the biggest projects in the space that you could think of: Phaeton, obviously you guys, Mobland, and many more. And it was just a no-brainer at the time to kind of try and get deeper into the ecosystem and see how else we could help the projects, because we didn't want it to be one of those things where we launch your token and that's it. Like, the relationship ends there. Obviously, we have a lot of follow-ups and things like that, but especially with gaming, it just made a lot more sense to be a bit more involved. Hence the gaming guild idea, which was to essentially allow the games that we work with to have access to a community of just dedicated gamers that wanted to try new games, that wanted to play GameFi games, blockchain games, NFT games, and so on. So the idea of the guild was born there. We started off with just a couple of games originally. Launched scholarship programs for Wonder Hero, Blockchain Monster Hunt, Cyball. I always forget something. Wasted Lands, Happy Land. There's just a bunch of games in general, and the investments in gaming started becoming a bit more serious in the sense, we were just acquiring spaces, we were acquiring NFTs, land, things like that, and it just became kind of a natural shift at that point. So at the moment, PokeStarter Gaming is focused a lot more on the entire gaming space, not just the guild side of things, where we're trying to also bring in like infrastructure partners. We had these conversations as well with you guys when we were talking about guild management systems and things like that. That's something that's key at the moment, because we're very like bullish on people that are trying to build stuff within the space, not just the good quality games, but also the tools that are going to make these games even more enjoyable as experiences. Because in the end of the day, I could to summarize the whole thing, essentially our goal is to just onboard as many people as possible into this space, right? Because we have a belief. I stand by this, and I'll die on a hill defending this. In the future, it's not going to be like crypto NFT games and non like crypto NFT games. It's just going to be games, but it's going to be a given that you have NFTs integrated within these games. It's going to be a given that you have the ability to earn from these games. So when will that happen? No one knows, but it's definitely getting a lot closer now with the reality that we're seeing. That's a long story, short story type of intro for you.
For sure, man. Thanks for that. Much appreciated. Just want to backtrack a little bit. You say, is there a difference between Polkasauter Gaming and Polkasauter Gaming Guild, or is one of the same things, just one subset right now, and then it's going to evolve into a guild, which we've discussed, of course.
Yeah, the reason we kind of try to separate it is essentially Polkasauter Gaming plays a more active role in terms of like investment, but also in terms of building, in terms of incubation, in terms of like advisory. So it goes beyond that. So you could think of it in a way where it's like Polkasauter Gaming has a guild under it. It's not so much Polkasauter Guild. The guild doesn't have the advisory and that stuff. So we kind of just try to almost layer it, but in a sense, it's the same thing. Just different kind of roles, different kind of capacities that we enter into projects. Because some projects, maybe the game is not playable for a guild yet. Maybe you don't have lending protocols. For example, I'll talk about big time. You can't really do anything guild relevant in the game right now, but you can invest, you can advise, you can do other stuff, and that's where kind of Polkasauter Gaming comes in, if that makes sense.
For sure, totally, man. Cool. Well, tell us a little bit about your community. Like, where are most of your where is majority of your user base from? Is it pretty spread and decentralized globally? Are you guys focusing on a certain region to expand your guilds, or pretty much looking at a decentralized world here?
Yeah, in terms of community, I mean, we started the Discord about 5 or 6 months ago. We're now at 70,000 members. Twitter is, I think, at 30,000, if I'm not mistaken. Might be slightly higher. The marketing people might kill me. But essentially, yeah, the community that we've built has always been built on the foundation of like we're gamers first, and then everything else. So even now with the markets being down and everything, and obviously like all the tokens are down, but you'll see that people are just still playing games. And even when people go like, this token is trash, like this game is whack, why did I get into this? You'll see other members of the community like come in and say, is the game fun though? And like, yeah, I mean, I do enjoy it, but I'm not really making money out of it. And then they'll tell them like, yeah, but that's not the point. So I mean, it was always that was the focus, and that's what we always try to do in like our weekly AMAs and stuff. In terms of like demographics, I would say it's a bit scattered. Obviously, there's still a big majority from Southeast Asia. It's just the nature of the space and how Axie started everything and stuff. But we still have a lot of people from Europe. We have a lot of people from the Middle East. A lot of people just scattered all over. And we're now trying to do more like guild partnerships as well to tap into other communities. So we just did an official partnership with the Japan Gaming Guild to kind of tap into the Japanese market specifically, because it's a completely different type of gamer, man. It's crazy. We also did a partnership with Gamic, Africa's largest gaming guild. They're based out of Nigeria. I don't think that's going to stop as well. We're probably going to start going to the west a bit, maybe look down at South America, get a Spanish gaming guild to partner with us and things like that. We're just trying to really like reach as many players around the world as possible. But yeah, that's kind of the current state of the community.
Okay, so PGG taking over soon.
That's the idea.
Nice. Cool. Thanks for that. All right, let's hop in a little bit about what we're building in the space over here. Like, as per you and the whole PGG team and the community, what do you think is the current state of blockchain gaming? Where do you think we're headed? Is there something you'd like to see different in the current state, or improvements or iterations?
I think it's still early stages, to be honest. I do think it's shifting for sure. I think, especially with this market, like the current state of the market is forcing more and more games and more teams to like innovate and actually stop with the inflow of the copycat projects. It was, there was some point in time where I would literally sit down with maybe 8 to 10 teams in a day, and I would say like 70% of them would present the exact same thing with just different like animals as NFTs. So it would be pretty much just Axie 2.0, Axie 3.0, Axie 4.0, but it's like dinosaurs, cats, and I don't know, dogs or whatever. But I think now it reached a completely different dynamic where Like we're seeing open world games, we're seeing first person shooters. We just signed a partnership with a zombie kill to earn game. Obviously, you guys, honestly, the way I always look at Mobland is like Rockstar took too long to put out the new GTA, so you guys just just had to step in and keep the world balanced. But it's this kind of stuff that really excites us, right? It's like the games that represent genuine fun gaming experiences. I think that's going to be the next step. I also think the whole dual token system is currently being questioned. I think we tried as much as possible to make it work. People tried to add as much utility to their tokens as possible. I think everyone's starting to realize an inflationary token as the sole foundation and basis for your game economy to survive is just not sustainable anymore. I'm personally, I speak personally as me. I'm personally more bullish on like the concept of NFTs and essentially like prize pools, where you just reward competitive players. To be honest, I don't think it has to be every single player that plays the game gets to earn. Maybe they do get to earn, but like a very minimal amount compared to like the very top players, right? It just makes sense because when you look at the traditional gaming space, look at like, I don't know, League of Legends, Call of Duty, Fortnite, like all these games, who's making money? It's the pro players, right? So what if you could have a leaderboard where it's not, it could at some point reach esports. I think this space will eventually head towards esports, but until then, like, why can't you do a global leaderboard where the top, I don't know, 1,000 players are getting rewarded? That's the kind of stuff that we're seeing a lot more of as well. And I just think it's about innovation at this point. Like, there's no right or wrong at the moment. No one's figured it out. There's no way you
Sure.
could tell me that a game hasn't figured it out. It's just a matter of like innovate. So if someone's innovating and bringing in like new dynamics into the game, the in-game economy, and so on, that's what's really exciting us at the moment.
For sure, not totally agreed. That's what we're focusing on over here at Mobland is really building infrastructure, which can further be utilized by not just Mobland, but a lot of other portfolio projects within Mobland's modules and all of our partnering projects. We've already forming alliances, formed some alliances already, and rolling out new tech, the cross-chain bridging solutions, which is called Tesseract, which will be utilized with some of our partnering projects. And it's going to be really interesting to see how we can merge the mafia metaverse gangsters with like flying uh, you know um, um, other species and everything. I almost gave it away, but I had to hold back.
There's gonna be a leak, you guys. You almost got the leak.
But it's gonna be nice to see how we can finally blend worlds and actual interoperability, because people thought it's really really far, and until last year we personally thought it's really really far, but we've had great advancement. Personally, the team has been really stepping on it and crushing it for the past 3 months. And we've had huge success with our cross-chain solution. Right now, we're going on our community. Most of our community know about it, but I don't know when the last time we spoke, OG. But we've successfully tested a lot of the cross-chain bridging and minting on BNB chain. Lately, we've been testing the recovery process as well, because while sending transactions, whether fungible tokens or NFTs, there's 99.9% it works out really well. Working with great partners at Wormhole, great team. Sometimes there's through the messaging relay system, you might have a transaction that gets lost in void. So what we've been testing and going back and forth right now, vigorous texting actually, is ensuring there's a recovery process. If somebody's transaction does get lost, through these multiverses, as we call it, we want to ensure that we're able to get that back and have support from the Wormhole team as well. So that has been ongoing for like the past week. And I think we're very, very happy with the results so far. But that led to, us facing some other bugs, which is standard. But we want to ensure that everything's taken care of and go to market when we're very, very, very comfortable. Because, like I said, this is a solution that will not only be used by Mobland, but by a lot of other partnering projects. So we want to ensure that it's fully airtight and ready to go out of the market. Followed by that, so we're going to have our seed farm coming up soon. After that, we're going to have individual wheat farms, the Snoop Dogg wheat farms. Snoop Dogg's going to be coming into the ecosystem again, along with Champ, his son. Then we're going to have individual farm owners. So a lot of these wheat farms will be owned by community members and potentially guilds, whoever wants to participate as well. And this is where the capitalists and the hodlers of the Mobland evolve, because you can consider each of these digital wheat farms to be individual pools. Now, instead of Mobland owning the pool, individual wheat farm owners will own the pools, and they'll be able to, pretty much own their farm blueprints, obtain different levels of farms, probably 1 to 5, 1 to 10. We're still finalizing the exact levels. And then the farm owners will need to stake their farm, i.e. their pool, onto turf, which is our land, before the seed owners, which is our first in-game in-game cross-chain asset, will be used to farm digital weed, which is another in-game cross-chain asset. So, like you said earlier, the PFPs, we always believed that NFT 1.0 was the PFPs, which was super cool and fun. 2.0 was which land evolved last year, but we didn't see a lot of utility around it. And now, we're introducing NFT 3.0, which we believe is revenue-generating business licenses. And these business licenses are everything from digital wheat farms to other organic powder farms to, club and churches and hospitals. And all of these, I'm just specifically talking about the BNB chain to start with, but we're going to go, all of the AVM-compatible chains and then Solana. So with all these solutions we are bringing, we are pretty much building the infrastructure and foundation to take all of these games and modules and GameFi 2.0 services to individual ecosystems and the users, instead of really trying to tap in and pull people away from where they're already comfortable and they know how things work. So we're taking a slightly different approach here, and we've been getting a lot of support, not just from our partnering projects, but also the L1s and the L2s that we're building on, and potentially going to announce soon different partnerships. They're very excited to see, and also they've been playing and testing out these systems going on. So a lot happening on the infrastructure side in Mobland. There's a lot happening on the PvP, PvE build side. There's a lot happening on the GameFi side. And this is why we're very excited to continue partnering with strong, ecosystems like Polkadot Gaming Guilds, because you all bring a great community globally, decentralized community, and that's what we'd love to see: more and more users, more and more Mafia in the Mafia metaverse.
I know everyone's just thinking, when game? nice talk, but when game?
So the game. This is the game.
Excited
this is when the game starts. The GameFi 2.0 starts. The GameFi 2.0 leads into the PvP, into the PvP. We're doing things slightly different, and that's why, like I said, we're building the infrastructure first. You talked about sustainability, and this is why we've taken a couple of months extra, because we've been heavily testing back and forth our economic models, ensuring that now it's not just on a single chain that we have to maintain sustainability, but we have to ensure the sustainability cross chain, and then we have to ensure the sustainability once we mirror the cross chain onto other chains as well. So I as much as I want to roll it out, and I know the whole team wants to roll it out, and the community wants it to be rolled out, well, we want to do it right. And if it's taking a month extra, a month and a half extra, we're pushing hard, and we're beating all deadlines. And sometimes we see a little bug here and there, and we go back to the drawing board, do the testing again. Recently, we've been working on some cool stuff for the blueprint owners, the Genesis blueprint owners, and we had to go back to the drawing board, do a lot of economic calculations again, make sure it's sustainable, because we're going to introduce additional features for blueprint owners, besides it just being a multiplier. And very happy with the results for this whole week. And Certic's going through this addition that we've done now for the blueprint owners. I'm hoping and expecting results. Today's Thursday. If not Friday, it's probably going to be Monday, because for them it's business days. But so far, from what I hear from the team, that everything's looking good from the Certic side. And now it's just us rolling out the descriptions of the turf owners, the farm owners, the farmers, the mercenaries, the attackers, how the game system flows. And there's multiple different parts of it here. There's the farm system. There's going to be the turf system. There's the turf rental agreements that we are building. We're mimicking the real world, where the turf owners will be landlords. The farm owners will be the businesses, where they'll have different agreements on how long to lease for, the duration they want to lease for, what are the terms, the rent they want to charge, the mafia tax they want to charge. So there is a decent amount of complexity into the features that we're adding, but we're pushing really hard and doing our best to make it as intuitive and a very pleasant user experience on top of the hood. Under the hood is going to be a pretty complex web of Web3 solutions.
I mean, I think it's an understatement to say that we're excited for sure. I think the thing is, people probably, and it's partly our fault as a space in general. People forgot like how hard it is to make a good game, right? I think people are just so accustomed to essentially like having games pop up every single day on every single chain, and it takes time for something like this to I think come to fruition because you're talking about a lot of different complexities. There's different dynamics. I think just the concept of being able to go to turf wars, to own land, to own like, businesses, trade licenses, all that stuff that we used to discuss, previously, even like months ago, is still super new to this entire space, right? It's almost like bringing something to life that doesn't exist at the moment, and so I'm like, we're super patient. Obviously, I will continue to nag. I will continue to ask you when and when and when and when and when. But for
Pretty
sure,
close.
everyone's super excited for it.
Pretty close, man. Like today, I just shared a screenshot of we've been testing the Tezeric, which is a cross-chain solution, testing the Cinepass staking today, testing the blueprint multipliers. And then besides that, what we've been working on lately for, majority of the month is basically the wheat farms and the seed farms, which is like a major product release for us, along with Tezeric, as I've mentioned that a couple of times. The farm owners is, it's very interesting for us, and everyone on the team is pretty excited to roll that out as well, because as I mentioned, the farm owners can place the farm on the turf that the farm owner owns, or a third party owns, or a capitalist owns, and each farm has its own occupied area and must be placed in on turf that has enough land to accommodate for that farm, because the farm, we're mimicking the real world. There's going to be 2x2 farms. There's going to be 4x4 farms. There's going to be, your farm has certain sizes, such as kilometers squared. Um, some turf could have very incentivizing deals of rent, but unfortunately, your farm is too OP or too big, and you won't be able to stake it on that turf. So you have to go find another turf that might have higher rent, but might have better protection from plundering, from your loot getting raided. So it's not just going to be a simple, hey, 2-click and things on cruise control. I think there's going to be a lot of strategies involved, from the farmers, from the turf owners, from the PvP players, from the PvEs, the mercenaries that we'll be hiring to protect your farm and your yield. We're also working on the turf that will have different capacities of shield, different rental, capacities as well. Um, let's see. Each farm will have different greenhouses, because we're going all indoor digital green, wheat farming, and for planting a certain amount of seed, which will be farmed by using the Sinner or the Cinepass, and blueprint multipliers. So the seed will need to be utilized, and the seed will be burnt for sowing, and even the seed pool, which we are launching very, very soon, there's going to be a germination period, because we've a germination period is pretty much a very, very small lockup period, just so people have, or our community and the players have, more time to understand the whole process as we roll out all the documentation of the farm economy and the ecosystem. The mercenary as well. There's going to be as a mercenary, you'll have to stake your characters before operating your character in game. But there's going to be strategies as, do you want to use a character as a mercenary, or do you want to use a character as a multiplier? Some characters might be have a green thumb, and they'll be better, quote unquote, digital wheat farmers compared to mercenary attackers or mercenary defenders. So I think once we do roll this out, which is pretty soon, the community is going to be very, very, very busy, and I'm very excited about that, including yourself, OG. You'll have a lot of questions. Wait and see.
I was actually going to say, let me flip this on you, because I have two questions in mind. One is, you talked about this earlier, like the space and the state of the space and stuff. I think with games like yours, it's almost demanding a different type of player, compared to what we've seen so far in the Web3 space in terms of blockchain gaming. How have you seen that in terms of like the challenge of, essentially, it's either you onboard like Web2 players that are used to that high quality of a game, and then obviously teach them how Web3 works, or essentially you just maybe upgrade the current Web3 players into what you essentially want to kind of get to. How have you seen that as a challenge? Because I have my own thoughts on this, but I wanted to kind of pick your brain and see where you're at.
For sure. There's a lot of that question has come across before. We've discussed it internally as well, and we're focusing on both. We're not trying to turn one into the other. What we're doing is we're focusing on the GameFi 2.0 products, which we're very excited to roll out. And definitely, there's a huge, DeFi crowd in the community. We're also going to have Web2 gamer community evolve with all of the major partnerships, some that we've announced, a lot that we haven't announced with, world-renowned gaming studios, publishing studios, and also we have some huge partnerships lined up with, traditional gaming IPs that will become part of, Superpower and Mobland modules. So there's going to be a whole influx of players coming in. Those players will need a lot of education, and we'll have a lot of campaigns and drives to educate people on the GameFi ecosystem. Not necessarily that they have to participate in the GameFi economic system, right? They could just straight go to the PvE, the PvP part. But I'm pretty confident once those players who are, coming from the traditional Web2 space, they realize, dude, there's more than simply PvPs and PvE missions. There's a whole, economic system that they're building. There's a whole multiverse, quote unquote, system that's going on here. It's going to be very intriguing for them. And then there's going to be a whole bunch of DeFi and GameFi users who are just here to, participate in the game system flows and the farming systems and the GameFi 2.0 economies we're building. When they see this huge influx of Web2 players, they'll be interested to participate in the PvP and PvP as well. So we want to ensure that we are catering to both sides, but at the same time, make it intuitive, have enough education and educational campaigns that both sides of the spectrums are very comfortable, and eventually we can have a merge. That's our goal. We don't want to turn one into another. We just want everybody to merge and become a very big global community.
It's interesting we talk about this because the other day I was asking around in the guild, like, what's the average price of an hour in an internet cafe to play a game on a PC? Because we're looking at that as a potential model as well, where, if you don't have a gaming PC, maybe the scholarship system needs to evolve into allowances. So essentially, if we own land, if we own NFTs, and then we just give you an allowance as a scholar, you go, you play the game in an internet cafe next to your house or whatever, that's still a way of keeping you in the loop and giving you the high quality games. Because I don't think it's going to be feasible, at least short term, to onboard like majority of the current space and the players in the space into the new games that are coming out. Like, my PC has to be of high specs to run some of these games, so I just can't imagine in other parts of the world as well. So I mean, yeah, that's just a thought that we have, but I definitely think things are moving very quickly, and it's good to hear kind of your take on it and how you're looking to merge both. My second question was, in terms of, let me articulate this. You've got a very interesting kind of appeal to your project, right? You're talking weed, you're talking Snoop Dogg, you're talking weed farms, mafia. How have you seen that as well as a challenge? Or maybe it wasn't a challenge, maybe that was kind of your your strength in terms of like actually promoting it, because it's different rooms that you can get into and have different conversations, right? But it's also like, did you have to be delicate in some conversations? Did you downplay it anywhere? Because every time we talk, you're just like, weed farms, weed farms, weed farms, Snoop Dogg, Wiz Khalifa, and then I'm like, is he always like that? Does it always got that same sentiment?
So honestly, we've been pretty out there about it. We've been all over, a lot of, we've got a lot of PR coverage, a lot of media coverage, and we're very proud of it. It's been a lot of fun. I think initially when we first kicked this off, when we were discussing with the team, this idea sparked, a couple of years ago, and we're like, we really have to bring this, because globally everybody knows the mafia, everybody knows what weed is, but we just want to digitize that and bring it and let everyone live their fantasies. And I think that's what it's about, right? Make the game fun, make it something that people can relate to. I think everybody globally, knows weed. They don't know digital weed, and it intrigues people. Like, what is digital weed? What is Snoop Dogg doing in the metaverse? What is digital weed by Snoop Dogg? And we get lots of DMs daily on Discord, on Telegram, Twitter is stacked with DMs. We have to go through like on every weekend and just answer a bunch of questions. But so far, there's not a single person that we've discussed with, me, my team, and the wider team, that has any negative sentiment about what we're building or what we're doing or what we're creating here. So we're very thankful for the community support this way, and it's really nice to see that the theme, the narrative, the whole mafia metaverse is actually coming to life, and we're getting everyone's support from our community members, from earliest community members to new community members to partners to major ecosystems to early investors to news outlets to traditional Web2 publishing studios. Some of them are like, you guys are really crazy, and you're going out there, and we're like, yeah, it is what it is, and the community is loving it, so we'll keep pushing hard for it.
That's good to hear, man. No, I definitely agree. I think you're really running with the whole mafia thing, huh? Like ever since the start, it's just like, these guys are just gonna run with that whole narrative all the way. That's good to hear. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll give it back to you now.
For sure. No, yeah, and just so you know, just so you're already, we're starting slow with the digital weed. We're gonna go hard pretty soon.
I remember you told me this is meant to be a brand, not just like a game, and I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, for sure.
Here we go.
Because a lot of the other modules that we've always talked about that are going to come within Mobland and merge, and there's going to be cross collaborations, cross engagement, cross utilities of assets, and interoperability. They're pretty much ready. I would say a lot of that stuff will roll out right around, if not shortly after, the first module of Mobland. And this is why we've not just been focusing on the seed farms and the weed farm pools alone, but multiple other things that are running in parallel, and all of them are going to tie in together. So the Tesseract system, which our community knows about, briefly, the Tesseract is our cross-chain bridging solution that we've built in collaboration with Wormhole. This is being utilized and is being tested along with other modules that we've been discussing for a while, to ensure that, hey, your Genesis Blueprint Mafia character goes swiftly from one chain to the other chain. But not just that, but it goes from one game, causes some damage, goes to another game, causes some damage, goes to a third game, earns some rewards, and comes back to the initial ecosystem. And if maybe while it's going through all of these games, it's caused some damage where it's become much more powerful OP. It's leveled up, so it's not necessarily you'll be leveling up just in Mobland alone. And this is where it gets very interesting, because now the strategies go deep and far beyond just the Mobland ecosystem. So there's going to be a lot of documentation that needs to be rolled out, a lot of videos coming up. We're going to be working closely with the community specifically. We're strong contenders of promoting community content, and we will continue doing that as much as we can. Recently, there was some great videos, that we had in collaboration with some of our early community members, and I would like to just put it out there that if there's other members in the community that want to produce such level of content, do reach out. We'll be happy to share information, and we'll be happy to work with you back and forth. We'll be happy to have calls with you, as we did with our recent community members. And we want to promote community content as much as we can. And OG, we would love to do that with the Polka Starter Guild as well. Whenever you guys are ready, or the Polka Starter Gaming first to start with before the guild, have your the Pulse Mafia come in. We've discussed this for a while. It's about time we get another syndicate in there, and start creating some content with y'all, not just for Mobland, but how Mobland and Polka Starter are going to work together, what PGG is about, what the vision is about, and really give the stage to the community members.
Yeah, I mean, our logo's already green, so we're pretty much ready.
There you go. Nice. Cool. Well, we have had a couple of questions back and forth here. I'd like to open the stage to any community members. If they have any questions, anyone from, Mobland, folks out of Gaming Guild or beyond that might have any questions, please do request, and we'll be happy to get you on stage. In the meanwhile, anything else you'd like to touch base on, OG?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to not say too much, because I don't know how much of what you tell me you want me to openly share. But I'm just genuinely excited. I remember a couple of months ago when we spoke, I was like, "Can I buy all the churches, please?" And you didn't let me, and you're like, "No, that's a monopoly." But I'm just genuinely excited to hop in and play with some of our community members and actually get some of this stuff going.
For sure, I feel it. Same here. All right, we do have some requests. I'm gonna start accepting them. Let's see if it's working.
Yo.
All right, I've added.
Sorry.
Yo, Biz. I've added Biz. Then I've added Hub after that, and then Manton. All right, take it over, Biz.
Cool. Yeah, just want to ask, I guess, with the guild's Polka Starter. Just curious. Do you guys have plans with working with sub DAOs and stuff like that within your own own guild, maybe within their own, maybe groups of members get together and maybe create something of their own, and then maybe like help promote that in a sense. The other thing was any advice towards other guilds, independent guilds, on building and scaling it out as we see Web3 gaming becoming more popularized and the user base expanding, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of smaller crews building up together along with these bigger guilds.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'll touch on both questions, I guess. The first one, I wouldn't say there are direct plans at the moment, but we're definitely always like happy to accommodate anything that comes from the community. We've seen the community rally together and get in like game nights and set up their own servers and play tournaments and stuff like that. That's always something that we welcome. If members of the community ever were to decide to come together and essentially set up a sub DAO or a DAO or whatever it is, we definitely happily support it as a product or a byproduct of the guild. Actually, funny enough, the active members in our guild that were in the Japanese like language channels ended up building their own guild that's now called the Japan Gaming Guild, and we're still like in a really good relationship. They're kind of our go-to people whenever we want to talk to the Japanese market. We're their go-to people whenever they want to get in intros into big games and things like that. So we're super bullish on community. That's probably like the number one priority for us all the time. When it comes to the second question, in terms of like advice and things like that, I can't stress enough how important the community is. It really doesn't matter like how much money you put into it or how big the number of members you have. It's just really like the core of the community that you have. I was just talking to a guild based out of South Korea earlier today, and they've invested like somewhere between $1 million, $2 million in League of Kingdoms. And that's just crazy to me because it's a completely different type of game. It's almost like a pay-to-win game, and they've got their own DAO. They put it in place. They now own pretty much like the entirety of the game in terms of land. It's like a monopoly in that side of the world. But I don't really think it's a numbers thing. I don't really think it's what brand you have on board or whatever. It's essentially your community. We get a lot of intros from the community. There are so many projects that get introduced to us just because a community member is in some Discord, sees some announcement, fills some form, and then gets a lead and says, "Hey, could you guys talk to these guys?" Or, "Hey guys, are you interested in getting to know these guys?" We also have some like crazy, like unique people in the guild, man. I can't tell you. Like some of the scholars that play some of our games have like companies that operate like fully. They're like part-timing scholarships and things like that. Some scholars do like very deep, detailed research. They've got Excel sheets of like every single move, every single monster in the game, every single character. Like there's so much that can come out of it, and we're just excited to see like how we can help them and support them further. Like it's always a question of, hey, could I like empower you to do anything else? Like, is there anything that you need from me? So I think if you're trying to build a guild together, like just focus on the community, focus on getting like some really good people into the guild, focus on actually providing value to them. In terms of like making an ROI and things like that, it just depends on like the picks that you make, and you will get burned no matter what. You will get involved in games that maybe don't have the ROI that you were expecting or whatever. But I think the fundamentals, like if you get involved in games with fundamentals that you agree with or fundamentals that you believe in, I think long term you win for sure, because we only talk to games that we've sat down with and spoke to the partners and realized, what are they like? Are they responsive? Like, how can we work together? How can we build this further? Typically, I would say like 99% of the time, the founders and the team are very, very responsive, and they listen to feedback, because the feedback we give is a lot more important, I think, than the feedback that just comes from a random VC, because we've tried the game, right? So when I go to a game developer or a studio or a team, I'm not really talking to them from a my money isn't moving as quick as it should be standpoint. It's more of like, my players hate your game, or my players think this is buggy, or we've got reports that this is not working, and so on and so forth. So I think the value that gamers and guilds bring to the space is so much beyond like just money. It's a lot more about the feedback. It's only through us that we'll improve the space. But yeah, that's kind of my feedback.
Well, that's wonderful. Really appreciate the insight. And yeah, I mean, the Mobland ecosystem is quite deep and wide. And if your guys' community wants to get together, love to get the opportunity to chop it up and talk shop at any time.
For sure, man. I told Dev this earlier. I was like, once we come in, we're probably gonna start talking to all the smart people, and we'll grow the syndicate. He didn't believe me. He thought I was gonna try to do this solo or something. But for sure, yeah, happy to get in touch. Please feel free to reach out to me directly on Discord or on Twitter.
Yeah, man. There's a thanks Omar, and Biz for the questions. But I just want to say these people, like someone like Biz, and there's a lot of community members like that in Mobland that have really created a very strong foundation of syndicates, guilds, sub DAOs, whatever suits you. The title for you guys, but. It's really interesting to see what's evolving out of this, and it's going to be really interesting to see when the offer that OG just made, that reach out to them and see how people can collaborate together and what kind of strategies evolve from here. It's going to be really cool. All right, well, I'll give it the stage to the next speaker. Hub, you are next in line.
Hi guys, I'm dropping by. Part of the team that works with Omar, and I'm just here to say that I'm really looking forward to playing this game. Last couple of days we're playing different games that are basically made available pre-release, I guess, and we're having so much fun. And that's what Omar was saying as well. Like it should be about the game first, and then build after that. It's basically gonna evolve to something more, right? So.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, man. Thanks for being here. We appreciate the words, and looking forward to working with you all.
Awesome. And one more question. When game?
I told you.
Soon with the TH. Soon.
Just messing with you. I'm looking forward to it, and like Omar says, hope to be able to play relatively soon. So yeah.
For sure. What I'm going to do, I don't think you guys have had a chance to go through the latest article, which has the timeline. So after this call, I'm definitely going to drop it in Discord to Omar. And, Omar, please do share it further with the wider team. And then we can have a separate call offline if you guys have, further questions about more details on that.
100%.
That's awesome. Thank you.
For sure. All right, Toxie, next in line.
There's gonna be a little bit of background noise. Apologies for that. So yeah, my question was both to you, Devansh, and to OG as well, because we might say that in Web3 space, the games so far, right, that's the majority of them being pretty simplistic, but our game, especially is it's pretty deep in the mechanics and then in its own complexity, and I love it. So the question is that, have you guys thought, and what basically want to pick your brain on that? What is the education strategy you guys have in your mind when it comes to just bringing the information to the wider communities and just educating the people? Would you like to just share a little bit about that? Because I think it's going to be really important as we move on and as we roll out our structure of the game. So that's my question.
Yeah, for sure. Great question, man. I'll take this one really short first, and then I'll hand it over to OG as if he wants to answer that further. For us within Mobland and the modules that we're coming up, the team's working on a lot of creative content, a lot of easy to digest content is what we're focusing on, and that's the reason I say a lot of easy to digest content, right? Because we want to make it easily digestible and fun. It has to be shorter, visually pleasing content such as videos that we're already working in the background, and there's a bunch of content creation going on that way. This content then will be widely amplified through our partners, through traditional publishers, Web2 and new Web3 publishers, the crypto and Web3 gaming guilds, but we're also going into the Web2 gaming guilds, and we're talking about guilds with 8 million, 12 million, 15 million plus social followers who have huge teams specifically focusing on educational campaigns and education drives. So we're working closely with them because it's not just educating people about complex systems, but we've noticed there's a lot of education needed from ground up. So a lot of the phase 1, phase 2, the foundational education about why we're building these solutions, why we need to go cross-chain, why we're building sustainable economic systems, what's the economy flow like. A lot of these terms and a lot of these concepts are very alien to the traditional Web2 folks. Not saying they don't know about them, but they still want to see them in action. They want to see how it works out, because a lot of them have not got their hands dirty in DeFi protocol, or they haven't participated in GameFi yet. So, but the amount of interest that we're seeing and the curiosity that we're seeing has us convinced that they're all on board, and they've already committed to it, to support us and spread this as far and wide as we can. Besides that, we're going to be working closely with the community. That's our biggest point, is building strong a community that is pretty engaged, that understand what is going on fundamentally, and why we're building the infrastructure that we've been talking about, and really doing slowly. If you all have any more advice, suggestions on this, my lines are always open. Reach out, and we'll always take action. Of course, the more ideas, the better, and we'll do our best to execute them. Anything else you want to add, OG, please?
Yeah, I think you hit it, right on there. I think the issue is, right, like, just think about it as a traditional gamer. Like, I had to explain to a friend, because I wanted him to hop on a game with me, and I had to explain to him, like, the process of setting up MetaMask and the seed phrase and don't share this and write it that, like, it's just, there's so much friction, I think, to enter the space. Once we get rid of all of that, I think the process of onboarding is just going to be a no-brainer. Because if you talk to someone that plays Fortnite and you're like, hey, imagine if your skin was an NFT instead, and you could actually sell it on a marketplace, it's a no-brainer. But then you add the friction layer of, you gotta set up a MetaMask wallet and go here and do this and do that and Pancake Swap and Uniswap. Like, that's just so much more complexity. Not to say that it has to completely disappear. I do think easy, like, connecting login stuff, like automatic wallet address generation services, there's like a couple of them out there already. I think if you set up an account on Gala Games or on Vulcan, you already like have a wallet set up with it. It's just there's so much quality of life improvements that we can make here and there, just to kind of make the experience a lot easier. And then for sure, like, education is going to be central. I think the more content we can put out there to just explain how things work. There's so much like pushback from the traditional space where people are just like, oh, it's a Ponzi. Like, how does this work? It doesn't make any sense. You guys are just like robbing it. It's just another way of, game developers and studios making more money off the players. You just have to educate these crowds, right? Like, you can't just argue back with them and say, oh, you don't understand. Like, you have to actually genuinely have an open conversation with them about how these things work and how it's an open market, how it's decentralized, how, your NFTs are yours, what's the blockchain, like all these things, which will definitely be key for us as well to talk about. And for sure, I'm excited to see the type of content that you guys put out. I'm excited to obviously amplify it as well with what we do. And that's just the way forward, I guess. It's educating all these people about, the nature of the space. I saw the other day that I think someone on Elden Ring got banned or something because they got caught selling their coins on eBay. And it was really funny to me, because it's like the traditional space is begging for something like this. They just don't know how it works yet. I think once you kind of break that barrier, lower the friction, educate the crowd in general, it becomes just a no-brainer for everyone to hop in.
Real
Sure.
talk, real
Well,
talk. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for that question, Turksy. All right, we've got Payal next on stage.
Yeah. Hi, can I speak now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So my question is like, the market conditions are going really bad these days. So how do you think this, all the gaming guilds and everything, all the platforms, which is crypto oriented, is how much they got impacted? I understand that crypto oriented platforms have impacted a lot, but what about the gaming guilds? What is the impact you can see on these platforms?
I think it's a good and a bad impact. Obviously, the bad is, the obvious. If you were holding any token in any game and it just, went down by 90%, like, obviously the majority of your holdings are worth a lot less now. I think the good upside of it is guilds can now really focus on actual high quality product, and try to focus on the play side of things. We never, ever, ever have a conversation in our guild or the community about like token prices. You can see the token price within the private chats if you're playing a specific game, but like, we never say, oh yeah, it's up 20%. Oh my God, let's launch that. Like, every time I get a partnership suggestion that is based purely off of this crypto token is doing well, 99% of the time we don't even take a second look at it, because it's all about playing the game, enjoying the game, and then getting the reward out of the game. Because if we just hop on every single game that gives you a high ROI, it just becomes a a toxic, non-sustainable, very easy to collapse ecosystem that's just built purely based off of speculation and token performance. What we're doing right now as a guild, and I probably speak on behalf most of the big ones as well, is a lot of education, a lot of trying to incentivize players to just focus on the games and keep enjoying the games. We play like, I don't want to mention, too many random game names in this conversation, but we play a bunch of like AAA, AA quality stuff on stream, and we just try to, draw the audience's attention to the enjoyment that you get out of games, right? Like the point of streaming is to get people to like remember these are the moments that made us gamers, right? Like this is why we love gaming. It's about having fun. It's about trolling each other. It's about the moments, the clips, the funny stuff. Like this is why you play video games. It's not because if you click this button, you get $10 and like you cash out for the rest of the day and it's over. That's staking, that's DeFi, that's yield farming, that's like very Web3 crypto protocol disguised as a game, I guess. So I think in terms of like an upside, this is the way I see it. Like a lot more guilds are a lot more serious. A lot more guilds are no longer having conversations with these, yield farming / staking protocols disguised as games. And there's a lot more focus on high quality stuff. I think over the past maybe 3 to 4 weeks, I've seen way, way, way more high quality games than I have over like the last 5 to 6 months. Purely based off the fact that these guys are just coming here and saying, well, now that the noise is gone, now that no one cares about speculation and token prices anymore, we're actually building a game. And we're seeing a lot more, game studios come out with games and innovative ideas, and like the playability is just getting better and better because you can picture yourself. Like I watch some of these demos and trailers and I'm like, I can definitely see myself play this for hours. So I think it's it's good and bad. Obviously the market condition is terrible in general, but there's still a silver lining there.
Yeah, I got my answer. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks for
Cool.
that question.
Well, yeah,
do you have any
thanks
other thoughts, Dev,
for
about guilds? Are guilds getting more shy to talk to you?
No, not really. Actually, quite
There
the
you go.
opposite. We're getting a lot more folks reaching out to us, and like you said, I think with the current market conditions, there's one thing that's for sure: it's cutting out the noise. It's very evident to see, who's really building and what they're building now. Before everything was, up only. Now, it's people have time to focus on fundamentals. People have, slowed, quote unquote, slowed down and taken a step back, and now really assessing what they want to participate in. Before it was everything like, hey, close your eyes, throw a blind dart and it's going to stick, right? But now people are actually strategizing, and that we've always had great conversations, but in the past month, the amount of people reaching out and the kind of questions that we're getting, not just from community, but actually from from new partners and new folks that we're onboarding, it's amazing to see that.
Yeah, there you go. That's the evidence for you. Essentially, like it's projects like Mobland and these type of games that are going to get a lot more attention now, because it's like, oh, okay, cool. Everyone else that was trying to make money is no longer here. Let's focus on the guys that are actually trying to build a game. Here are the conversations that we need to have now.
And yeah, put on the digital wheat farming hat. Let's go.
Get Snoop Dogg in this space.
Yep. If you guys are hyped about Snoop as much as I am, you're gonna be mega hyped about everything else we have lined up this quarter and the coming quarter. It's gonna be litty. Cool. Well, thanks for all the questions, everyone. I think we're right on time. I'll let OG take the stage again. If you have any comments, if you'd like to tell us how we can communicate with Polka Nostra Gaming Guild, how the community can reach out, where we can find you, anything else you'd like to add, sir?
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I mean, I think this was a great chat. Obviously, it's always good to catch up, and I like the fact that you're now closer to my time zone, so I can bother you a lot more on Discord than I could in the past. But yeah, no, I'm really excited. I think the entire community is excited. Everyone, asks, well, what's happening with Mobland? When are we doing something with Mobland? I think you're all going to get an answer very soon. We've got a lot of, stuff lined up together. I don't want to talk too much about it yet, but there could be, something in the conversations that come up soon for you guys as well. If you're interested in Mobland and you've never joined the Polka Nostra Gaming Guild, I'd definitely check that out. It's discord.gg/PGG, or you could just click on the Twitter and take it from there. But yeah, I mean, I'm genuinely excited. I think the community is going to love what you're building. I think with this new kind of scholarship model or whatever that we're trying to figure out as well to get more people to try your game, because that's my, in the end of the day, that's our goal. We're just trying to have gamers play good games. That's kind of the summary, really, and I think it's going to be crucial to get as many players to try your game out as well, for sure. And I'm genuinely excited to start buying up all your churches. I think that's my strategy moving forward. Just tax everyone for respawning. But yeah, no, thanks for the chat. It's always great to catch up. And if you guys have any more questions, if there's anything else that you'd like to learn, please feel free to hop in the Discord. We're always online. We're always active. Someone from the team will grab you and then give you the answers that you need. And yeah, appreciate it, Dov.
Hell yeah, for sure, man. Much appreciate it. We appreciate your time. Really, OG, that was a great chat. And as always, thanks for everyone for joining us. We really appreciate y'all taking the hour out of your busy schedules and spending time here, knowing more about PGG, knowing more about Mobland, knowing more about the space. We'd love to continue doing this more often. If you guys want us to reach out to certain, projects, certain partners that you want us to have further talks with, do let us know. I do have one final request. Everybody throw down hell emojis. I want to take a screenshot and we'll post this. Let's go. Let's keep doing this. Cool. Got that. All right. Well, we'll call that a night. Thanks, everyone. Much appreciated again. And we'll reach out offline if you have any further questions. Have a good one.
Take care, guys.
Later.